Hi, it's Steve. Today we're going to show you how to change the upper rack assembly in your dishwasher, and it's a really easy job and you won't need any tools. Let me show you how we do it. Now, to do this repair, you will need to remove some of the components from the old dish rack to transfer onto the new one. So we'll begin by taking the old one out. We'll start by releasing the little locking tabs on the bottom of the rack stops. We're lifting those out. And then pull the complete upper rack out of the dishwasher, push the rails back into the tub and close it up. And then we'll take this to a suitable work surface where we can remove the front handle and these tilt down portions on the side. Now, with the upper rack removed, we are going to have to transfer some of the components of this rack to the new rack. The handle at the front, if your model has one, can be easily transferred. These fold down retainers on the sides can easily be removed and they can be put onto your new rack. If your model has fold over tines at the center at the front, those can be removed and installed on your new rack. Another thing to take note of is the style of wheels on your existing rack. If they are a type that has a lift up and slide to lock into the next position, rather than a straight up with a lever, you will need to transfer these wheel assemblies to your new rack, because the wheels themselves are a little bit different in diameter and they will not fit the rails on your dishwasher if the assemblies are different. If your rack has this type of roller assembly on it, the one supplied with the kit will not fit it. You can see that there is a difference in the style of the wheel as well as how the actual assembly raises and lowers. So you'll discard that new piece if your model uses this. So we'll start by taking off these retainers. They just gently pry those pivot hinges open enough to lift them off of that horizontal rail. And then set those aside. And all four of those are the same, so don't have to worry about mixing them up. Now, the fold over tines in the center are a little bit different. There's one with 4 tines on it that is on the right side if you're facing the dishwasher from the front, and then one with 3 tines on it would be on the left side. Now, to remove those, we're simply going to turn that rack upside down, and those fold over tines are held in place with 4 little clips that fasten onto wire rails that run side to side. So simply press down on those while spreading them slightly, and they are on there fairly tight, so you have to put a little bit of pressure on them and they will pop off. Do the same for the rear ones. Now, to remove the handle, we can simply reach along the bottom and you'll feel a gap there, and just spread that apart. And there are 3 little push together clips that hold that on there. Now, if you need to remove the wheel assemblies, we will have to press those away from the vertical wires on the side of that rack, and they're on there fairly snug. So you can try just pulling on them with your hands first. You will need to use a fair bit of pressure, but just use enough to spread them so that we don't damage it. And working from back to front, we get all 5 of those vertical clips disengaged. And you can just slide it forward to unhook the 4 hooks on the bottom. Now, they are marked right and left, so it'll be easy to identify them when we put them back on your new rack. And then just lift that one off. And then we can discard our old rack. Now, starting with the new rack, we can reinstall those wheel assemblies. So determine the right and left ones. And that front hook will fit into the vertical wire just back of that wide spacing in the center of the rack. Now to reinstall that wheel assembly, I'm going to make sure that we have this channel over that wire, and we'll hook that front one in first. Pull the whole assembly towards the back of the rack so these vertical clips line up, and then press them firmly onto the rack until they snap in place. Do the same for the opposite side. And then again, just press those firmly onto the wires. You can also put the front handle on. Make sure we have the logo facing forward. And then line up those plastic clips. The front portion has 2 notches that will fit over that top wire. And then there's a vertical one for this wire. So line those up and then just snap the rear onto it. There's 3 clips. Next we'll put the convertible tines in position. So again, just locate that square opening in the center, and on the wire that is at the rear of that on either side, we're going to snap one of these little pivots into place. Start by taking one of these pivots, and we're going to locate it. That's the rear of that center portion, just to the outside of that. Snap that firmly onto the rack. And we'll take the tine, make sure the bearing is on the end of it, fit it into that pivot, install one on the front, and rotate that pivot around and snap it into the cross wire on the front. Then locate the tines themselves, insert the bearing end of it into that clip. Take another one of those clips, slide it over the bearing on the opposite end, and then press it down onto the rack. Now next we'll install the spray arm to the bottom of it, so flip the rack over. The spray arm is held in place with a little clip at the front right by the pivot point, and another one at the rear. So that front one is again going to go on that wire just at the back of the rectangle in the center of the rack. And make sure that this front clip slides into the rear portion of that rectangular opening in the middle, and the little clip at the back will fit across this one. So just line that up. And the rear one, make sure that it fits down over the wire at the very back of the rack, and just press the whole assembly forward. Then lastly, we can install those fold-down retainers. Just snap them over the front to back wire that's in the middle. Now with the rack completely reassembled, we'll open the dishwasher up and just pull those rails forward. Line up one of the rear wheels with that rail. Do the same on the opposite side, and then just push it fully into the dishwasher. And reinstall the rack stops, making sure that we insert them straight down through with the clip on the bottom, and make sure that that locks into place. Same for the opposite side. And our repair is complete.